Having my hair up just makes me look paler than I already am, and I feel like this was a mistake. Hello everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I am here with a brand new video. Welcome to Brunette Bibliophile, where I post bookish videos and writing content. Today I am here to talk about what I read during the month of March. Now, March felt very long, and I got a lot of reading done, but some of these books felt like I read them so long ago because I read them at the beginning of the month. I'm going to be talking about 14 different things today, so we're going to waste no time in jumping right in to talk about the variety of items that I read this month. I read a couple of novellas, a lot of books, a buddy read, a bunch of stuff to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I read was a novella, and it was Royal Valentine by Jen McKinley. This is a short little novella rom-com that is Valentine's Day themed, as you can tell, so I thought this would be perfect to read around Valentine's Day, but I didn't get to it at that time, so it was the first thing that I listened to this month. Overall, it wasn't my favorite thing that I've read. It's definitely not one of my favorite romances. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I felt like it was okay. That being said, I am still intrigued enough because it is like a series. I'm intrigued enough to at least pick up the second one, and then if the second one is only okay, then I know I need to stop. I think a lot of the problems that I had with this was mostly having to do with the timeline, because there were like jumps in time that we didn't even know were happening, or it was said like, oh, this person's only going to be here for a couple of days, but then it's like, oh, a month later, but there was no explanation. So that was a little frustrating to me. So I just ended up with 3 stars, but I'm hopeful that the next one in the series is something that I will enjoy. Next, I read a children's book that I saw going around, and it is That's Betty, The Story of Betty White by Gregory Bonsignor. This was such a cute little read, and I'm sure like a bunch of stuff regarding Betty White will be coming out over the next year or so. This is about a child who is doing a report on, I believe it was a famous figure, and he chose Betty White. There's so many interesting facts about Betty White throughout this entire book. There is a woman who appears in the book who it's supposed to be Betty White, and it was just so adorable, but also so heartbreaking at the same time, knowing that she has left this world. But it was so good, and I definitely recommend, if you love Betty White, checking out this short little kid's book. It is super cute, full of facts about her, and I just loved the way it was presented. So the next book I'm going to talk about was my buddy read for the month with my coworker, and that was One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. This is the first Rebecca Searle book that I have ever read, and I was getting insane Mamma Mia vibes from this book. Katie is supposed to go to Italy with her mother, but when her mom suddenly passes away, she decides to go on her own because she's questioning where she is in life, she's questioning her marriage, and she wants to feel more connected with the mother that she knew, and the mother, and who her mother was before she was a mother. But the twist with this book is suddenly her mother is there, like her younger mother is there, and they become friends. So that was definitely something going on throughout the book that I wanted to know what was going on. It probably could have been presented in a better way, but overall, I did find myself enjoying this book. It's only about 250 pages, so it's something really easy to get through, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. It made me want to travel. It made me want to like go travel and try all this amazing food. The food descriptions are phenomenal. It was making me hungry. But for a first try at Rebecca Searle, I think she's an author that I may try her other things, but only from the library, if that makes sense. 4 stars. So next I did one of my rereads for the month. We're going to talk about a bunch of rereads, but the first one that I finished was What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This was on my reread list for the year because the sequel to this book, Here's to Us, just came out at the end of December, but I could not remember anything from the first book. So I listened to the audiobook of this, and I enjoyed it just as much as I did before, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I can't remember if I rated it 4 stars the first time or not. I just remember that this was a book club pick many, many moons ago, and this was something that I enjoyed reading then. So I'm definitely interested to check out the sequel, especially now that this is more fresh in my mind, and I'm excited to see what these 2 authors have done. Next, I read another really exciting novella, and that is Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood, one of my auto-buy authors. This is the second book in the Steminists novella series. The next one is coming out very soon. But this one, I also fell in love with this one as well. Ali Hazelwood just does something with her romance that I just love. So I ended up loving this book. I gave it 5 stars. I loved the main 2 characters. I was a little worried that after the hype and my love for the Love Hypothesis, I would have a hard time getting into other books that she's written. Like I wouldn't want the main characters to be who they were. I would want them to be Olive and Adam from the Love Hypothesis. But I have had no trouble so far with the novellas, and I am so excited for everything else that she puts out. I believe all of these novellas are enemies to lovers. The first 2 have been, so I'm curious to see what the 3rd one is as well. Next book I completed was a library book that I had been meaning to get to for a while, and that was The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. I'm not going to talk too much about this book because now we're getting into the point where I was at my reading retreat, and I did talk about this book in that vlog as well, so I will link my reading retreat vlog in the description below for you to check out. But there is something about books set in the publishing world or the writing world that I love, because I gave this 5 stars. The way that I see it, and Desirai, my friend Desirai from Librelabra, said it really well, it's that you can love a book and then you can love a book, and they can both be 5 stars, but not all 5 stars are created equal. And I think that this is a perfect example, because while I really enjoyed this book and I loved it and I gave it 5 stars, I'm not obsessed with it like I am the Love Hypothesis or the Hating Game or Beach Read, stuff like that. So I really enjoyed this book. I'm definitely looking forward to any other adult rom-coms that this writing duo puts out. And it was 5 stars, but I'm also not obsessed with it. I was really enjoying it in the moment, and I just love the inside look at writing life in fiction. Next, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of rereads right in a row. And again, all of this is in my reading retreat vlog, so check it out in the description below. But during that weekend, I also finished my reread of Winter by Marissa Meyer. This I had been working on for a bit, and I finished this. And I also started and finished Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. These were my last 2 rereads in the main series, and I finally got them done. My large, expansive reread of the Lunar Chronicles has come to a close. This one was a 5 star. It is the same star rating that I gave it the first time I read it back in 2016, 17, whenever this book came out. This one, I ended up not rating it the first time that I read it, so I definitely did a rating this time around, and I individually rated all of the stories and then averaged it, and it came to like a 4.3, so I gave this one a 4. I decided to be really ambitious and immediately read Wires and Nerve Volume 1 and Wires and Nerve Volume 2, Gone Rogue, in order to really complete my Lunar Chronicles reread because of the new novella that was coming out. Both of these were 5 stars, and I finished all of that in time to read Cinder's Adventure by Marissa Meyer. This is Cinder's Adventure, Get Me to the Wedding. It is an interactive choose-your-own-adventure short story that is not canon to the Lunar Chronicles, which is really good. I also talked about this at the very end of that vlog, where it features characters from all of Marissa Meyer's books. So Gilded, Heartless, Instant Karma, Renegades, all of that, all of those characters are featured in this book. So it's a good thing it's not canon, because it would really mess up the timeline of everything, but mostly Lunar Chronicles. So I rated this 5 stars, but my rating is purely based off of my first read through and just how fun of an idea this short story is. It is something that you can read multiple times. You will get different outcomes nearly every single time, or a different adventure nearly every single time, and it was so fun. So as far as my Goodreads goal is concerned, I am only counting this book as a one-time read through, but I've already read it at least twice. And I have heard, Marissa Meyer has stated that you can get 12 different endings from this one Choose Your Own Adventure story. I've only encountered 2. 10 more times sounds like a lot. I'm going to give myself a break and then maybe dive back in. I did buy it, so I am fully prepared to just pick this up whenever I would like to. And even if it isn't canon, I am still very happy that this novella exists. Alright, now we are into the final 4 books that I read this month, all of which are library books, and all of them are all over the place, so let's go ahead and jump into that part. So the first one I read was the BookTube Chicks Book Club pick for the month of March, and we read The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I actually started this on the drive back from my reading retreat, and I read it the week after, and I really enjoyed this. I was very surprised how much I enjoyed this one. This is a mystery, which is why I'm surprised I loved it so much. And although the audiobook was only okay, I still ended up really enjoying the story. This book has been everywhere, talked about so much recently, so I am very glad that I got into it and really, really enjoyed it. I already have the second one on hold at the library, so I'm just waiting for that to come in, but I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars, mostly because the only thing I was really interested in was the puzzle aspect. I wanted to unravel the puzzle. And I didn't so much care for the romance that was in this book because I found it unnecessary. If you had taken it out, it probably wouldn't have mattered. Now, there is a plot line with relationship abuse, both emotional and physical, so keep that content warning in mind if you want to pick up this book. I understand that it was kind of used as a red herring in the book, but also it's something that I think could be taken out and is ultimately unnecessary. Overall, 4 stars. I'm also going to link our live show in the description below, and also my Goodreads review that I wrote. I'm going to link both of those in the description below. Make sure you go check them out. And check out the live show because you'll also get Desirai and Kat's opinions on the book as well. Next, I read The Royals Next Door by Karina Hale or Halley. I'm not sure. This is another one I've had on hold with the library for so long, but I just kept having to like push it back and push it back and push it back. And I finally read it. And this is essentially if Harry and Meghan moved to Canada and you were their neighbor. That is what this book is. So basically 2 royals move in next door to our main character and she is stuck encountering the bodyguard. I gave this one 4.5 stars, mostly because Harrison is just a cinnamon roll and I loved him in this. Romance I think is great. The sex scenes I think are great. I don't know why this book wasn't a 5 now that I think about it. But I believe there's supposed to be a sequel to this book, like a companion sequel, and I'll definitely be picking it up. So 4.5 stars for The Royals Next Door. Next, I read one of my most anticipated releases for the year, and that was One True Loves by Elise Bryant. This is the sequel to Happily Ever Afters, which I read right at the very end of 2020, and it came out at the beginning of 2021. So this is following a character that we met in that first book, Lenore, and she is going on a Mediterranean cruise with her family right after graduation. And she is having to settle on a major and whether she truly wants to go to NYU or not right after graduation. I gave this one 4 stars. I love that it was on a cruise ship. I don't know why, but my brain has just been on cruising recently. Probably because it's been so long, but that's just where my brain is at right now. I want to go on vacation. So I really enjoyed this one. I don't think I loved it as much as the first one because I'm pretty sure I gave the first one 5 stars. But this one I gave 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. And Elise Bryant is still an author that I'm going to continue to pick up from in the future. And finally, we're going to talk about the last book that I completed, which was Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson. This is my first book by Melissa Ferguson, and this is a pure, just straight romance with like no sex at all. So if you need a no sex book, then this is one of them. So this one is actually set in the publishing world, but it's not something that I was obsessed with as much as other writing books. This is about Savannah, who is writing a romance novel, and she was pitching it to an editor, I believe, and it got denied. And one day she left it in this like alcove hidden room at her work, and when she came back to get it, somebody had read it and had been writing edits on it. She starts passing notes back and forth with her mystery editor, and the whole point is trying to find out who the mystery editor is. It's very obvious who the mystery editor is, but that's not a problem. I still enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy the romance between the 2 characters. It's not something that I loved or am obsessed with, but I still enjoyed it. I'm not sure if she's somebody that I will go to for more books from, maybe from the library, but Melissa Ferguson is not somebody who's at the top of my list at the moment. That's not to say that this book was bad. It wasn't. I enjoyed it and it was good, but I'm not obsessed with it like I am with other romances. I'm just glad I read it. So that is everything that I read and completed during the month of March. And really quick, let's talk about what I am currently reading. So I am currently reading Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts, that I'm not going to finish before the end of the month, but I'm enjoying this one so far. And then I am also reading A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, and this one is just okay for me, but we'll see if that turns around. So that is all I have for my reading plans for the month of March. Down below in the comments, let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts are on them, or what you read during the month of March. So that is all I have for you all today. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you like what you see here, please go ahead and click subscribe. I post new videos every week, so click subscribe so you can be updated for when I post those. And if you really enjoy my content, consider checking out my Patreon, linked in the description below. Thank you all so much. I will see you in my next one. Bye!
In the darkness, I don't feel so cold. The answers fall like rain, and somehow we're okay. My story drifts between shadows and smoke.